First one we're doing is 2 to the third times 2 to the third. Remember that this is like having 2 times 2 times 2, another 2 times 2 times 2, and so we'll have 6 total 2's there. It's 2 to the 3 plus 3, which makes our 2 to the 6th. A lot of times students will want to multiply there, but this is the case where we're going to add our exponents. Same deal down here. Don't be worried about the negative fourth and the negative 2 there. Your bases are the same and you're multiplying, so we're going to end up adding our exponents together. Negative 4 plus negative 2 plus positive 4. And so what this ends up making is z raised to the negative second power. You don't want to leave an answer with a negative exponent. So if you recall, with the z to the negative second, negative exponents want to move. This will move down to the bottom. It'll become z to the positive second on the bottom. But we can't leave a numerator hanging with nothing there, so we write 1 on the top. Over here, 2 over x to the negative third raised to the fourth power. I like to clear my parentheses first. So everything in the parentheses will get a power of 4. This becomes 2 raised to the power of 4 over x to the negative third to the power of 4. Still wanting to clear the parentheses here. We have 2 to the power of 4, that's okay, over, and then in this case, multiplying our powers, we get x to the negative 12th. And now what we're going to want to do is, again, move your negative exponents, because we don't want to leave any of those. So 2 to the 4th, x to the positive 12, that's in the top now. And again, you want to evaluate powers of numbers here, and 2 to the 4th we know is 16, x raised to the 12th power. In the bottom example here, 4x to the third and a negative second, I see these parentheses, and again, I want to clear them. So everything inside the parentheses gets a power of negative 2, and we're going to write this up here. So 4 gets a power of negative 2, and x to the third gets a power of negative 2. Still wanting to clear parentheses, I'm going to multiply, and so that becomes 4 to the negative second, x to the negative 6th. Again, you don't want to leave any negative exponents. I wouldn't evaluate what 4 to the negative second is until we move that negative exponent into the bottom here. A lot of times students will say, oh, that's negative 8, but 4 to the negative second is not negative 8. Okay? If you were to move it, 4 to the second comes down in the bottom, x to the 6th comes down in the bottom, there's a 1 left over, and so what we have here is 1 over 4 squared now, we know is 16 x raised to the 6th power. Swinging down here to the medium interesting, the first thing I see is 3 over the negative 27. And you know, this is something that you've been doing since you were really young. That's just a fraction right there, and it's simplified. Okay, both of those are divisible by 3. So if we come over here, 3 divided by 3 is 1. Negative 27 divided by 3 is negative 9. Then I see y to the 6th over y to the 4th. I have more y's on top, so I put my y here, and then I just subtract the exponents. 6 minus 4 is 2. When I go to write my final answer, I don't really like leaving negative signs in the denominator, so it's just going to come up right next to the fraction, and we have y squared over 9. You'll also notice I didn't write the 1 right here. Same deal. In the right problem, you have 4 over 24. It's a fraction that can be simplified. 4 divided by 4 is 1. 24 divided by 4 is 6. Now we have x squared over x squared. Since there's the same amount of x's in the top and bottom, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and reduce those. Then I see my y to the 8th. Okay, write that here. And the y to the negative third wants to move up to the top and become y to the positive 3. And then I have 11 y's on top, so we have y to the 11th all over 6. Last example, x to y to the 4th power over x y to the negative 1st. Again, I'm going to try and clear parentheses to begin. Everything in the parentheses gets a power of 4, so we get x to the 4th, y to the 4th, over top, x, y to the negative 1st. In this case, I'm going to move the negative exponent, so x to the fourth stays, y to the fourth stays, over top, x stays on the bottom, but the y to the negative first is going to move to the top and become y to the positive first. Now when I simplify, 4x is on top, there's 1x on the bottom, we'll be left with x to the third on top. We have y to the fourth on top, y to the first on top, so we rewrite that as y to the fifth. You can put over 1, but you don't have to. X to the third, y to the fifth power.